Hey, it's Patti Scharf, CPA and co-founder of Catching Clouds, a leader in e-commerce accounting. And today I'm going to help you decide between Xero and QuickBooks Online or some other alternative method of keeping track of your bookkeeping. Make sure that you stay until the end, especially if you're an Amazon seller, and I'll give you some more tips unique to you. Okay, so let's get started by talking about spreadsheets. I know a lot of people start on spreadsheets. I totally get it. It's cheap, free in a lot of cases, and it feels like you can just keep track of everything there. My concern for you is that it's not really an accounting system. There's not a closed loop. Like, you can't tell if you're missing a transaction or not, and you can tell that if you have a proper accounting system. So I would discourage you from using spreadsheets for very long, if at all. Okay, the next method is using one of what I would consider the little guys. So there are a whole bunch of systems out there: Freshbooks, Kashoo, Wave, Zoho Books. There are other systems that aren't little, but I'm still not recommending, like Sage or Reckon or MYOB. MYOB and Reckon are, I think, unique to other countries. I don't see them in the US. I don't think I've ever seen anybody using them. So that might not be part of this discussion. But in any case, these other guys, a lot of them, like some of them may not have a balance sheet. So that closed system that I was talking about, they don't have that. For other ones, my concern is just that they're not really a building block. Like QuickBooks Online and Xero, they allow for add-ons. And not only do they allow for it, they have hundreds of them. They have hundreds of systems that integrate with them that helps you do more with less and helps you have a complete system to keep track of payroll or paying bills or other things. And I think that's really great, especially in this growing cloud accounting economy. The other big thing is that your accountants know how to work with Xero and QuickBooks Online. I would not undervalue that. You really want to make sure that the systems that you're using translate well to your accountant who's helping you out and file your taxes at the end of the year and that sort of thing. Now that we've narrowed it down to QuickBooks Online and Xero, I want to help you decide what's right for you. Now, I'm going to say this is not a paid advertisement. I have my own preference. I'm just going to kind of tell you the history and tell you the things that you should be looking at. I don't care which one you choose, but you may care which one you choose. If you see an accountant out there that you're going to want to be working with, if they only use one system, you may want to look into that one a little bit heavier than maybe some of the other systems. So let me just back up a little bit and give you a little bit of history. So QuickBooks Online started in some absurdly early year, like I want to say 2002. I tried to look it up, but I can't find where it says when it actually started. So if anybody could tell me down below, I think it's 2002. So, but when it started, it was horrible. You guys, like, no accountants ever recommended it ever to anybody because it was just a mess. It didn't do bank reconciliations. It didn't, like, there were a lot of problems. Xero started in 2006 down in New Zealand, and they came to the US in 2012. And I think 2010 to 2012 is when a lot of SaaS firms started going, oh, the cloud is here. We need to like get this show on the road. And that was because the iPad came out in 2010. So business owners were like, hey, how come I can't see my financials on my iPad? This is ridiculous. And they tried like doing hosting in the cloud, like an external server where everybody would log into the same system. And it was expensive and clunky, and business owners didn't like logging into that, and they couldn't log in with their iPad anyway. So QuickBooks Online and Xero, they both went, yes, going to the cloud, full steam ahead. Okay, so in 2012, Xero launched in the US. By 2013, QuickBooks Online relaunched their product with a version called Harmony. In my opinion, I think Intuit, who's the owner of QuickBooks Online, saw Xero and went, uh-oh, we need to step up our game. And that's exactly what they did. So they started out, QuickBooks Online had just basic functionality that I think is critical for e-commerce sellers, and that is tracking. If you're selling on more than one channel, so you're selling on Amazon and Shopify and eBay, you want to keep track of those sales in different categories. And this is what classes in QuickBooks Online or tracking in Xero is for. Okay, it lets you have like little mini P&Ls, mini profit and loss statements on one statement. Okay. Xero, when it launched, it had it as standard. You didn't have to pay extra for that. QuickBooks Online, I think it was only in the plus version. Okay. And so if you wanted that, it was almost twice as much to pay for QuickBooks Online versus Xero. Okay. Now, another challenge with an e-commerce seller, a lot of them want multi-currency because they've got lots of stuff going on all over the place. They're paying for stuff in China and whatever. That was standard in the premium version for Xero. So if you paid for the premium version, you could get that for $70 a month. For QuickBooks Online, didn't exist at all. So you really didn't have a choice when it came to that. Okay. Then when you hit 2014, my favorite tool of all time, A2X, came into the world. And they began integrating with Xero. Now, what A2X does, if you haven't seen one of my other videos, it pulls the information from Amazon and summarizes it and posts it into Xero so that you don't have to pull your hair out trying to figure out what fees and things and whatever. I have a whole nother video. Go watch that one. So, but suffice it to say that it's amazing. And I think that these three factors are what made Xero the no-brainer choice for online sellers for years. Then, in late 2015, QuickBooks Online released their version of multi-currency. Now, keep in mind, when Xero built multi-currency, it was embedded in the program from day one. It was built as part of its core functionality. QuickBooks Online has been through a few different iterations, and I kind of feel like, a lot of it is like spit and glue, kind of kludging things together, which is one of the challenges I have with it. But it's there, and it works. And it's also cheaper, quite a bit cheaper than the premium version in Xero. Okay. And then A2X integrated with QuickBooks Online. So now here we are in 2018, and all the features that are really kind of critical, in my opinion, for e-commerce sellers, Amazon sellers in particular, it's now kind of an even playing field. So which one is right for you? I think different things that you need to look at. One thing is obviously going to be price. Which is the most cost-effective price for you? Both of these tools, they'll have like free trials and discounts, and you sign up and you get 4 months for cheaper or whatever it is. So definitely look into that, but keep in mind what it's going to be after you get past that trial period. Something else you want to take into consideration is support. Now, Xero only has email support where you email them if you have an issue, but we have never in all of our years of using them had any problem with that. We just say, hey, call me back, and they call you back within like 5 minutes. So that is not a problem. Oh, and we almost never have to contact support because the system just works. And I think that is huge. QuickBooks Online, I actually haven't heard lately about how their support is. Maybe if somebody has more experience to see if it's improved over the years, you could leave a comment down below. But I know historically, they were infamous for just keeping you on hold for hours and, not solving your problems and things like that. And one of the things I really like about Xero is you don't have the problems to need support in the first place anyway. The next thing you want to look at is what features do you care about? If you don't care about multi-currency, then it may be more cost effective to use Xero. So, just take a look at that sort of thing. And another thing that is honestly probably the biggest factor is which system do you like using better? If you have a long history with QuickBooks Online and you hate it, try Xero. If you've used Xero and you hate it, go to QuickBooks Online. You just want to have the right fit for you. I know a lot of people who are huge fans of QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online drives me crazy, and vice versa. You have to find the right fit for you. I do think that Xero is a lot more user-friendly, especially for non-accountants. I think that QuickBooks Online is kind of busy and hard to understand in some ways, whereas Xero is nice and clean and easy to navigate and all that. Something else that I think should be taken in consideration is the API. I've heard from lots and lots of developers who try to integrate with QuickBooks Online and they're just pulling their hair out, whereas Xero's much more straightforward and clean to integrate with. But at the same time, I've seen other tools that integrate seamlessly with QuickBooks Online and then they're super clunky with Xero. So I would recommend you set up a free trial, test out each of them, see which one speaks to you, and then just go for that one. But I wouldn't be concerned about making a wrong choice because I think both of them are totally viable options for you. Okay, so now you've got some details on Xero and QuickBooks Online. If you're an Amazon seller, or even if you're not, go check out my blog post on QuickBooks Online versus Xero. It'll give you more information about the comparison between the two. If you like this video, please make sure you like it, comment, subscribe, tell all your friends, and I'll catch you next time.